Hey kids, it's Grandmaster Ben Finegold here with Kid Chess. Now, I don't give enough props to our current world champion, Magnus Carlsen. And Magnus Carlsen, he's known for slow, boring, slightly better, increasing his advantage, and eventually winning. But all world-class players can play any style if they have to. And this was actually a blitz game where both sides started with either 5 or 3 minutes, and they're playing very quickly. And you would think somebody who doesn't play really exciting chess isn't going to be good at blitz chess, but it's not the case. Magnus is probably the best blitz player in the world and the best slow player in the world. This game was played a few years ago against Sergey Karjakin. Now, you should know who Sergey Karjakin is for 2 reasons. He played a world championship match with Carlsen pretty recently, about 3 years ago. And also, he's the youngest grandmaster ever. When he became a grandmaster, Karjakin, he was 12 years and 7 months. That's still the youngest. And it was many years ago. It was about 15 years ago, and nobody's broken the record. Okay, they played a Sicilian, and they played a really weird line, which didn't really have any theory. They just played sort of strange, which people do in blitz chess. When they play quickly, play sort of weird and get complicated positions. Okay, but there's a very important idea I want to explain to you this game. So the game is about equal. Nobody's really winning. And they traded a lot. Takes. Okay, now instead of taking this knight, Magnus wanted to put his knight on c4, like this. Is that possible? Let me see. No, I can't do that. So Magnus played knight e5, and he wants to play knight c4. Okay, and he did. And he wants to take this bishop, and he wants to take this pawn. And Karjakin's like, no, I'm the youngest grandmaster ever. And he played bishop c1. Okay, now amazing tactics happened. Black played queen b6 with 2 ideas. He's attacking the b pawn, and he's putting pressure on this knight. Now, when you fianchetto your bishop, which both players did, white fianchettoed that bishop, and black fianchettoed that bishop, those bishops are going diagonally through the center of the board, so they can take a lot of things. Now in this position, this knight is here, and if it moved away, which it does very soon, look at all these pieces black can potentially take. Now, normally I don't want to just interrupt the video and tell a funny story, but I have to. I was teaching a kids class many years ago, probably more than 30 years ago. And one of the kids raised his hand and he said, if my bishop can take this knight, can I just keep taking? He wanted to keep taking the same move. And I was like, nah, you can't do that. Once you take something, your turn's over. But he wanted to keep going. So that guy would have been the world champion if he could do that. All right, but I told him he couldn't, so he wasn't the world champion. Anyway, so black wants to move his knight away and then start taking things. Or if you're in my class, take all the things. And he wants to take this. Karjakin saved his b pawn with b3. Then the excitement happened. Now, one of the mistakes people make is when they attack a piece, they only look at that piece. They start staring at it, that knight on c4. But there's other pieces on the board. Other things can happen. And you should always look at checks and captures. And black played this capture. Now all the pieces are attacked, so I'm confused. This is attacking this knight's attacking this knight, the queen's attacking the knight, the bishop's attacking the knight, the pawn's attacking the knight. I'm confused. The chess computer says white has the advantage, and it plays the way Karjakin did. Knight takes knight, queen takes knight, queen takes queen, bishop takes queen. Black is a pawn up now, but black's threatening the rook. Now here, white should play bishop h6, attacking black's rook. But he played rook b1, which is okay. He saved his rook. Okay, and now black's knight is under attack, but he did a counter attack. Computer agrees. d5. Now this is funny. White's attacking this knight, black's attacking this knight, and white just ignored that and played the move the computer likes. Rook to d1, attacking the bishop. That way, if the bishop moves away, he could take this pawn. So all of these things are attacked. And the engine, the chess computer says it's about equal. Okay, takes, that's the right move. takes, that's the right move. Now the knight has to move. Okay, black is up a pawn, but black's not going to save that pawn. White can take that pawn two different ways. Okay, in this position, white has two good moves. He played one of them. He could just take the pawn with the bishop. He decided to play bishop h6, attacking the rook. Also good. And the rook went to e8. I would say for a blitz game, this game is very well played. There were no blunders. The computer liked most of their moves. And now the game ends in one blunder. And in all the chess lessons I give, private chess lessons to my private students, I explain this every lesson, okay? A lot of people who play chess get upset because they make a bad move and they lose. That is true. Chess is one of the few games where one move ruins every other move, okay? And I've said this many times in lectures and camps and videos and lessons. You can play perfect every move, like Magnus Carlsen, like Garry Kasparov, like Bobby Fischer, like all the strong chess computers. Every move. And then, if you stop and play one bad move, you could be losing. One bad move ruins everything. It depends how bad the move is. And if you're playing your opponent, probably you'll both make bad moves. So if you make fewer bad moves, less, you'll probably win. So if in a normal game, you play like a grandmaster, but maybe 4 times a game you make a really bad move, try to drop that down. 3 times a game, 2 times a game, 1 time a game, and then you'll be a grandmaster eventually. Well, this position, the computer says white should play rook to e1, attacking this pawn a lot. And it says white has a slight advantage. Probably a draw with perfect play, but it likes white because black hasn't moved his pieces yet. Instead, white got tricked, and it was an amazing trick for a blitz game. He took the pawn with the bishop. And here, Magnus Carlsen made an amazing move. Okay, and this is called removing the defender. What black wants to do is play knight f3 check, forking the king and rook. But he can't do that because white's bishop would take it. So Magnus was dreaming, how do I get rid of this bishop so I can play knight f3 check? Well, if you play f5, attacking the bishop just moves away. That doesn't take the bishop away from here. He attacked the bishop another way, a really brilliant move. Bishop f5. And this is why I tell my students, look at checks and captures. And my advanced students, obviously these guys would be very advanced students, they're better than me, look at threats. Bishop f5 is a threat. Now the idea is, if white takes the bishop, we don't take back. We takes the bishop, now we play knight f3 check, and we win the rook. So you must be saying, well, don't take the bishop then. Well, if it's black's turn to move, let me make it black's turn to move. I'll play a silly move. I trade bishops, knight f3 check, and then I win your rook. So white's in trouble here. Okay, and white played king to h1. Remember that variation I just showed you? Now knight f3 is in check. So if I go takes here, that's not check. White could just take the rook. That's why Karjakin played king h1. Okay, now you know the idea of removing the defender. If you want to take a piece, but it's protected, get the defender to move away. What's protecting this bishop? Obviously the rook on d4. So black said, hey, would you move your rook away? And white said, no. And he says, okay, I'll make you move your rook away. That wasn't very nice. Rook to d8. If he takes the rook, we don't take back. We take this bishop with check. And then we take back. So you can't do that. You can't let black take your rook. So he moved his rook away. If he moves his rook away, he has to protect his bishop. So he moved it away over here. Now he's protecting his bishop, right? And black said, no, I want you to move your rook away from your bishop. So he attacked the rook again. What a mean guy. b5. He's like, I'm going to take your rook. Now here, white realized he's going to lose his rook. So he actually gave up. Something you should never do. However, there is one move he could make which saves his rook and protects his bishop. That's rook b4. He saw he could do that, but then Magnus would play a5. Now the rook's attacked. There's nowhere to go. If you take this, you lose all of your pieces. Check and takes the rook. So bishop f5 was a brilliant move, and then black had a winning position. Karjakin didn't see that move, and that's why he played bishop takes e4 in this position. He didn't see bishop f5. But that's what happens when your pieces are lined up like this for a fork. Sometimes you get forked. And bishop f5 was a brilliant move. Karjakin missed it. He has a good excuse. It was a blitz game. They were playing really fast. If they're playing a slow game, I think Karjakin would have saw bishop f5 and he wouldn't have allowed this. In blitz chess, when you're playing really quickly, there's a lot of mistakes. That's why you shouldn't play quickly when you have a lot of time on your clock, because then you might make mistakes just like the grandmasters. Grandmasters only play quickly because they need to, because their time's running out. Some kids I've seen, they play quickly when they have a lot of time. That's not a good idea, as you can see. I'm Grandmaster Ben Finegold, here with Kid Chess. Thanks for watching the video. Bye, kids.